Hi, today I'd like to talk about articulated craft fur streamers for barramundi. Over here in Malaysia, they call them ikan siakap. Okay, and I'm using the 811S size 2 saltwater hook from Tiemco. Okay, I'm using 3/0 white uni thread. For the most of the fly, I'm using extra select craft fur. For the flash, I'm using baitfish emulator. I'm also using ice wing minnow back. Okay, and for the head, I'm probably going to be using these Grizzly feathers. Okay, for the connection, I'm using 80-pound 49 strand wire instead of the 10-pound that I use for trout stuff. Barramundi are much tougher fish. They're much harder fighting fish, so we have to upgrade everything because these fish are very, very hard on tackle. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. Oh, and I'm using large bead chain for weight element. Okay, now let's begin. We're gonna start the thread. You want this really, really secure. All these saltwater fish, if there's anything not really strong and well done in your fly, they'll find it. Okay, so super glue to hold the thread wrap down. Now we're gonna start with the flash, okay, and then go up to the actual flowing materials. So just a little bit of baitfish emulator, okay, just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take 1, 2, there. Boy, come to daddy. Okay, just back a little bit. Take all this excess stuff, fold it back, give it a physical stop. Okay, that mechanical stop, that physical stop, something very necessary in saltwater fly tying. Okay, now extra select craft fur. Oh, this is just regular craft fur. I'm going to take my extra select. Okay, extra select craft fur is just a wee bit longer. Okay, great stuff to work with. I don't need that much. Okay, I would say maybe 1/4 of a pencil's diameter is all you need. Okay, take out all the yucky fuzz stuff, the unnecessary underfur. Take this up. This will be longer than your flash. It's perfect. Here we go. Tie this in. Get this nice and neat. Okay, even this out a bit. Okay, secure it back, secure forward. Okay, let's get the underside here just a little bit. Don't need a lot for this tail part. The whole hook will be moving. You don't need a lot of fur, and extra select craft fur moves a lot. Okay, so here we go. Make sure the front ends line up. Good. Tie it in. Pull this back. Even it out. Okay. Tie this all the way back so that those are even. Come forward. Turn around so I don't hook myself, because that never feels good. Okay. Pull all this back. Begin wrapping. Okay. Really crank down. And you notice how this flares out here a little bit? That'll help with the body shaping overall. Okay, now our short whip finisher. Don't need the long one for these flies. I use them for assist hooks, but for most fly tying, you only need the short one. Yeah, unless you're tying really giant flies, which, yeah, that does come in handy. The musky flies and stuff that we tie up north in the States, yeah, you need the big one. Okay, Here we go, a little bit of super glue. Okay, there. All good. We're gonna let this dry off to the side here. Now we can start on the second hook. Okay. Ooh, that's sharp. Good hook. And bead chain material, very easy to cut. Okay. You don't need a serious cutter to do it, but it helps just to make it clean. Okay. All done. Okay. Now we can begin wrapping in. Okay. Get control of our thread here. There we go. Take this off. A little bit of super glue. There. That'll make sure that sticks. Okay, good. Now, I want this farther back. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure this is straight. There we go. Now, wind this sucker in. Those locking wraps are really important anytime you tie this style. You gotta do this a few more times. 2, 1, 1, 2. Pull it tight. And I am gonna put just a bit more glue in here. Okay. Make sure that sticks. Okay. Now we can tie the rest. 80 pound. Again, 4 lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You'll see why in a second. Okay. 1, 2. This is where we're going to start. See the curve of this. Okay. Direction is going to. So this is curving like this. It's a little bit winding. Yeah, it's a little bit, you can see it's not really the straightest wire. Okay, so, and I know I'm winding this way, so this wire will tend to turn like that. Bending point will be around here, so I have to guess to turn the wire a bit towards me. Okay, and try to guess where this thing is going to bend a bit too, and start from there. Okay, so I want to tie this in. Oh, that's not cooperating quite the way I wanted. Come on. Here we go. Okay, and yes, I am cranking down pretty hard on this. Okay. Keep this coming all the way to the bend. You notice I'm pulling the wire a bit towards me and still trying to roll it a bit towards me to offset the winding of the thread effect on the wire. Always going to have a little bit of that. The thread doesn't seem strong, but it does have an effect on wire. Okay, now we have to have our bead. Now, normally I would use not that one. Normally I would use plastic beads and such, but a lot of beads, their openings are just too small to fit the wire in twice. This just barely goes in once. So for these, I go for these larger beads that are soft. Yeah, you can fit you can basically force the wire through twice. I'm going to go through, see, if I really want to, which I need to, I can force it back in. Okay, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, because of this bead chain, this hook in the vise is going to ride hook up. That means the one in the back is going to ride hook down. So you'll see, I'm going to position it so that the hook in the back, the point is opposite the one in the vise. Okay, get this back through, pull it pretty tight. Okay, now here's the tricky thing about wire, is you always got to see how to make this sit nicely. There we go. Okay, so I have to lay this underneath to get the right angle of attack with the thread and all. Now I'm going to wind this forward. Okay, I've used a lot of articulated flies that were commercially tied that came apart. That's why I started thinking about how to do physical stops to make sure everything held together. You'll see this one that's coming upwards, I'm going to bend this down, okay, and wrap it in. This one that's coming down, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it in. I'm going to get it in really tight. Okay, really crank that down. You need a stronger thread. You can't do this with the 6X, the 6/0 thread. You'll just snap the thread. Okay, I'm going to cut this off near the bead. Same one here. Okay, and then tie those down. You want to really crank this stuff down. Doesn't have to be the prettiest, okay, but you need all of that to make sure everything stays together. Then glue. Okay, since I've gone to this system of tying these things, I haven't had a fly, I haven't even had the wire stretch or anything like that. On some patterns, if you just tied it all, you know, your articulation wire all the way to the front, after you're a good fish, you'll notice the loop gets longer and longer. That's not good. That means your fly is failing. Okay, since I've gone to this wrapping around the bead head, no problem, it doesn't get longer. Okay, there's no longer that issue. Now we need to cover up our joint here, so I'm winding this all the way back to the bead. Okay, extra select craft fur. Okay, we just need a little bit. If you notice, I'm not adding flash to this portion, and you'll see why in just a second. Okay, I just need some on top here. 1, 2, even that out a bit. Okay, yeah, I'm not making a complete circle with this either. Yeah, I'm not completely covering up that that bead with this. I don't need to, and you'll see why. Okay, when I make the craft fur, I think they call it a comb. Okay, there to adjust. That's a good sharp hook. Okay. One, 2, 3. Flip this over. Everything back. Ouch! Sharp hooks. Good sharp hooks. Okay. Get that back. Throw that out. Good. Okay. Now, dubbing loop. Okay. This is why I'm not so worried about covering everything up. 1, 2, 3. Bring this up. 2, 3. Wind it forward. Okay. To make sure this is out of the way, take my bobbin cradle. Sometimes this stupid little thing is worth its weight in gold. Okay. Now, this is where things get interesting. We're going to start with a nice tuft of extra select craft fur, white. Okay, for this pattern, we're using all white. For the trout one, I was using all tan or brown, or whatever you want to call that one. Okay, taking a pretty good heft of this, split the thread, up she goes. Okay, spread that out a bit. Now, flash. Gonna take some this baitfish emulator. Oh, come on. Come to daddy. There you go. This is not the toughest stuff, but it's beautiful in the water. Okay. Take this in. Work this up. Spread it out. And with this stuff, you really want to spin the thread, twist the thread a little bit in between elements, between fly tying elements. Okay, each one of these is another fly tying element. This, you see, this is a completely different color. This is green and gold mixed in with the predominantly white and silver, or whatever you want to call the baitfish emulator. Okay, and then we're going to put more flashaboo. The flashaboo is the mainstay. That is the major part. That's the bulk, the meat of this fly. And because it sheds water, it's a very nice, light, synthetic material. It's not difficult to cast on the fly fishing gear. Okay, now more baitfish emulator. You don't need a lot. Okay, just a little bit. Yeah. See, just a bit. Twist a little bit so my stuff doesn't all come flying out. Move this up. Some more minnow back. Don't need a lot of it. Okay. Twist, twist, twist. Okay, now extra select crafter. The third bunch. Okay, 3 bunches is all you will need. Longer fly, you'll need more bunches. Then it gets a little unruly. And then I would say create a second dubbing loop. Yeah, don't sit there and try with one dubbing loop to fit 200 bunches of craft fur, because you'll just have craft fur all over your fly tying area. Okay, spread this out. Try to make everything as even as possible, as spread out as possible in your little brush. You notice I'm not getting my stuff too close to the fly. Why? Well, maybe I'm wearing the wrong shirt for this, but is so that when I spin it, it doesn't tangle with the rest of the stuff on my fly. So what I'm doing is I'm going to grab the bottom of here and I'm going to twist the dubbing loop hook here until I can feel everything twist in my fingers. Okay, once I can feel everything twist in my fingers, I'm going to let go. Okay, and pull, and you'll see everything starts to twist together. And I caught a little bit of my own stuff. Okay, now I'm going to keep twisting in that direction to make sure everything's good and tight. Then I'm going to take the hook of my half hitch, and I'm going to start making sure everything is not looped. Okay, nothing's tangled up here. Now I start palmering everything in. Okay. Okay. Here, 1. Still not there. Almost there. Here we go. And as you palmer back, keep sweeping your materials back. Okay. It's important to keep everything sweeping back so you get less tangles and stuff and less trapped fibers. You want your fibers to be as untrapped and as free flowing as possible. Okay. notice I keep everything pretty as tightly palmered as possible. I don't want a lot of space between my wraps here. I'm not afraid of running out of material here in my dubbing loop. Okay, keep this coming back. Keep this coming back. Ah, good. Now, bring this out of the way. Oops. What happened to you? Okay. And now the thing I want to do is I want to capture my dubbing loop thread here with my main thread. Pull everything back. Try not to hook myself. 2, 3, and then pull my dubbing loop thread back. 1, 2, 3. I'll cut off the excess. There. This little doohickey is finished for now. Okay, let's tidy this up. Okay. Got some baitfish emulator sticking out here. Okay, now before I do anything else, pick from here, hook from here, make sure everything is. Yeah, I got some stuff that was hooked in. There we go. Okay. Don't be afraid to lose a few hairs in here. Okay. Now it starts to come out and really sit properly. Oy. Okay. Now, on to our feathers. Here's one of my feathers. Where'd my other feather go? Well, I'll just pull out another feather. There we go. Okay, did I really lose that other feather? Oh, there it is. Hate when I drop stuff below the table. Okay, so we have these Grizzly soft hackles. I choose ones with a bigger, wider, because these are going to be the pectoral fins. Now I'm going to be using these to create a head material, a flowing head, and also the pectoral fin, okay? But you don't really need the pectoral fin. Honestly, you just need the head. I've tried things with very realistic, I put the pectoral fin, the under fin. I even used bucktail to make a dorsal fin up here, on the other side near the hook. And honestly, it didn't catch as many fish as just making a nice big flowing head. The footprint was apparently better. Okay, so separate this out, tie my pectoral fin. Okay, on this side. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I want about that much. Okay, tie here so you guys can see. Make sure it's nice and straight. Yep. Okay. And then tie that in. Okay, now I'm going to take these two, I'm going to bring them together, and I'm going to palmer forward. Okay, now to do that, I'm going to keep stroking back the materials. Right now they're backwards, which means they flare more. I'm going to go around here. I forgot to do one thing. Best not to forget this. Wind the thread forward. Come on. Between the eyes, in front of the eyes. Capture everything. Capture everything. bring everything back. Okay, snip off the excess. Come on. Okay. Now, wet your fingers. Working with marabou is nice that way. You just to wet your fingers and everything comes under control. And build up this thread in the front. Okay. Now all I have to do, yeah, get that in. All I have to do now is whip finish, and she's ready to go. Okay. So this whip finish material, whip finish device is very important. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I suppose you could use this for big brown trout in the States too. Okay. One thing is, when you tie enough of these flies between all the marabou and stuff like that, and you know, wetting down, you end up eating a few flat fibers. I haven't died yet, and I haven't gotten sick or anything, but knock on wood. Okay, so how does this thing look? Let's take a look. Okay, as long as I don't touch the front, it should be fine. Okay, this will ride hook up in the front, hook down in the back for a more secure hookup. Okay, when she comes together, you'll see, okay, you'll have that nice flowing hackle, soft hackle up here to really give that good profile. This in the back will move very freely with the craft fur. You get all that flash of all different colors and everything, all different lengths. Okay, so the fish really don't know what they're looking at. Okay, very free. That's 80-pound wire in there. That's not going anywhere. Okay, very tough fly. You have your pectoral fins here, and if you want to post bigger eyes, normally if I use a natural material in front, I don't put stick-on eyes or anything like that. Okay, I just leave as is. But if I craft fur all the way up, you know, my dubbing loop stuff all the way up, then yeah, I start sticking these on, or doll's eyes on, and they work great. Okay, so this is the articulated craft fur minnow that I've been using for barramundi in Malaysia. Oh, I just glued myself together real nice. Okay, and it's worked so far quite well for me. I hope it works well for you guys too. Okay, cheers.